Right, so as my colleagues in the what is now described as the I can't even say it, or HD, whatever it is, subtype, you encounter just total task paralysis. So it's, oh God, I've got too much stuff to do. How do I break this stuff down? So okay, well, we've spoken to somebody sensible about probate, so that's good. But he makes the case it's familial, then the more complex stuff. So we'll go and speak to the lunatic again, but then we've got to speak to the lawyers. But we can now do that. But then you've got to break down the conversation with the lawyers, haven't you? So you say, okay, well, hi Errol, I don't want to be a manipulative, self-serving human, but given that I've worked out the managing director was trying to employ a Platonist strategy, got caught by me, can you sort of put in a good word, set him the law so I can get on the course just to be a barrister and kill people? So you can make that as sort of a sensible statement off the cuff, because it's actually just true, isn't it? I was murdering people for the local authority anyway for my entire career, and presumably you were sort of stopping me from doing so if you're any good. But I mean, that dynamic is sort of played out organically. Neither of us intended it. And we sort of discussed the murders on the way to Villa Park every week. As father and son, but now he's not about. I mean, there's no point in me ever going back to that city again. I have no reason to be there. It's an absolute shithole. It's absolutely ugly and filthy. I have no desire to be anywhere near it when I could be here. So, okay, I'm not being at risk of being stabbed to death in the near future, which is good. But even if that weren't the case, which it was, I'm clearly not going to go back to that place. But we need to discuss probate after a year sensibly, so I can get my assets removed. So I've got a property in Birmingham which needs to be sold or rented out, as the case may be. You wouldn't want to really give out a rental contract though, given the state of the place, so it's either you leave it void, which might be a better idea, or I don't know, we'd have to discuss it as part of knowing the position. But the position is it's sort of an awkwardness of circumstance, so we have no idea what is whose in the family, because probate hasn't been done sensibly and couldn't have been because the old man was such a deranged psychopath. But his partners, I'm sure, will try and shed a light on what happened there. But it's just not going to be in Birmingham, so there's no way I'm going to go back to the city to discuss things. People can either come to Edinburgh or London, because we've got an airport by a tram ride away. You can get on an EasyJet flight for a few £100 or whatever it is to get there and back. I've had to go down twice now, so we had to go down to network with the more aggressive sort of bloke, shall we say, and then the second time was to go to the Tufton Street to have a chat with the journalists, that kind of stuff. So we've got money, wide-ranging potential for access, heavy security, heavy personal security. I can't think of anything else we actually need other than following up the obvious leads, which is, again, working out that nothing else is needed. You wake up every day and think, is there going to be some kind of panic? Is there going to be some kind of emergency? No. Okay, well, we're getting into kind of a familiar pattern now, so we're obviously pretty safe at the moment. But it's just that the political situation clearly isn't safe. And given who I am, we're not going to improve the situation for John Cotton, or whoever is going to go along with any of the stuff he was involved in. So another great one for the recording while we're here is we can just carry on. So if the current head of the Lib Dems is running the place, what is this guy doing? So he should again be speaking to what does he want to say we are now? Current court staff, former court staff, pick one, we don't really care. But the idea that these people can just sort of transfer between John Cotton, then carry on hiding, it's just deranged, isn't it? I mean, come on. I'm reachable 24 hours a day. I guess I said to the colleagues, I was speaking to the woman who, as a director or something similar at Sonos, so the woman who makes the sort of headset that we're using to make these kind of calls, and you live now in this kind of weird sort of 5-dimensional space where anybody in the world can come through a telephone in your ear. You can block out the world, so the technology lets you sort of screen people out. People sort of vanish. You're in your own sort of little world in a sense, and we can carry on in terms of any kind of discussion they want in the street. Since we've been to Edinburgh, we've done sort of street work triage on behalf of their incompetent housing departments, so we can do housing level stuff up to the serious organised crime stuff, or just sensibly organise a time to actually go through witness statements regarding criminal proceedings. But they're so dumb and corrupt, they still think hiding is working. We've got another day of the fake bureaucrat nonsense, which doesn't work. And repeated recordings saying, can someone in Britain find these women? Can you actually find Deborah.Agentieri, whoever that even is, and actually stick a camera in her face and say, "No, sorry, what are you doing? Who are you? What gives you sort of like the authority to try and kill people on behalf of the local authority?" That's our department. That's what we do. I don't defer to you. Sorry. These kind of conversations. But it's kind of an awkward conversation in that respect then. So you've got a conversation about the credentialism pathway, but for the credentialism pathway to work, you'd have to have some kind of legal legal connection between the City of Edinburgh University and the current legal process in Birmingham. And the current embarrassment, of course, is if the old man was trained at Oxford, then the current antics with the sister, or the rival, shall we say, university is even more awkward. So that goes back to Errol as well. That could, again, be fairly awkward. But I think we're sort of ready for that now, given that Trevor Phillips has buggered off. When he's left the country, you think, okay, right, so the adults are just leaving now, aren't they? We've got a lot of problems. So the current spat on our side, of course, is unseemly, but it makes the point. Sometimes in life there is a golden bridge. A golden bridge, it may not look golden, but if it gets you an out, generally you take it. And if the out is, come on, look, mate, you have no organic support. All you've kind of got is the sort of postmodernist threats network, which doesn't actually work. Your aggression just doesn't work. It's clearly failing. We're just carrying on, and they're just not getting it. Then something's got to give, and it's got to be the merchant guys. So the money will get the arteries moving, but it's only moving because it's so gummed up. It's like there's a heart attack, right? So the money in my case is kind of like I had a seizure, but once the pipe opens up again, that's where the explosion goes. So it's the gas explosion in Birmingham goes back to things like medication costs, that kind of stuff. You make those inferences in front of a criminal defence solicitor, they say, oh yeah, right, and then it goes. So if we take the statement literally then about the link up then in that case, so the cup of tea for the record again can be given to my former colleague who was clearly constructively dismissed. So that was it, wasn't it? The insanity ensues, and I'm sitting in the court office, and of course I'm always the guy trying to play it straight. So I say, well, this woman wasn't removed because of any kind of racial prejudice. But if you think about it logically, it was because there was a biological connection between the woman heading the service and her son. So it was nepotism, therefore it was logically racial discrimination in the public body. So that's a one-for-one inference, she should be compensated. But because you were playing it straight during that period, Scriven wasn't actually going to comply. It was at that point, well, I'm not going to waste my time with you. So his reviews took 5 hours on Saturday work when I was out of my skull, trying to break that stuff down. He, of course, had no interest in doing it. He was just trying to prevent liability. He had no idea who I was. He flailed around and got his throat cut. But their audacity at carrying on just mind blowing. They thought they could just blow us over. But it became so obviously dangerous that you had to physically get out. So you go around to this guy's house, right? So okay, it's round the corner from mine. It's relatively physically safe. But I'm not going back to a place where I was, at risk of being stabbed previously. Absolutely not. And given the current antics by the administration, again, absolutely not. So, third space like this, if a cup of tea is wanted, is probably suitable. But I'm not going to go and chase people if we've got dug in here based on my own reconnaissance. So, once again, for the record, the help is, got driver's license via the post after God knows how many months, and I got my car transported by truck. Right, that was the help I received. I'm not going to take any lessons from anyone there. Come here, be respectful, or fuck off down south. There are a number of people up here who want to engage, who want to get working, get solving problems. I'm not wasting my time with unserious people any further. So we'll bang this into the nuclear defended servers then, so that could be part of the record. But yes, if anybody wishes to civilly discuss matters, come here. Don't hide in Birmingham or London or wherever you think you can hide. The laptop here is going to be handed off to either police or the embassy, so pick one, I don't care. But if any of the police are so dumb they're playing, hiding behind the glass from me, they're clearly not having it either. So have an adult here, please, who can take a laptop handoff, or will be hanging on to it in a gymnasium. But the linkage is, you should, when you're given a golden bridge in life, just take it. Don't argue back, just go and take it. So if you've been told, no, we're not going to compromise anymore, nor do we have to, think about the words we're saying, either formulate an argument or concede. We're not arguing, and if it comes down to a death penalty referendum, possibly cutting your head off, we will do it. We're not having daily murders happening and daily assaults on people because you're creating these compliance issues by being dishonest. We're going to get border security now, have a new Home Office, and get this place sorted out. If you've been playing silly games since November, respond now.